Welcome to the Power of the BI, Power BI Thursday night webinar. I know we're a little bit behind. Hope you guys can forgive me. When I go live, there's always something going, or there's always the ability of something to go wrong, just like in many other instances. But, with that said, if you can forgive me for being a little bit late, I would appreciate it. I would appreciate it. I ain't got my whole uniform on. I ain't got my cap on. You know what I'm saying? But there's 1,000 things going on. A whole bunch of stuff was going wrong, and I could have just said, "Hey, I'm just not going to do it tonight." But that wouldn't have been fair. That would have been fair to you because you have been informed of the Power BI webinar. Definitely, I know all day you've been informed of the Power BI webinar, and probably for the past week or so, depending on which social channel you are coming from. I am not looking at the screen right now, and again, I do apologize. It's trying to make sure we're live for our guys out here on YouTube. I accidentally hit the wrong button and I signed off. And I tell you, everything can go wrong when it can go wrong. What they call it, Murphy's Law. It is definitely Murphy's Law going on tonight. So for those of you guys that are out there on YouTube, you can log in and check out what's going on. You can log into the YouTube channel Power of the BI. I am actually going to try to share this as well. It's definitely being shared on the Zoom link. The Zoom link is available on my Instagram. So if you go over to Power of the BI, or maybe under Tarad the CTO, the Zoom link is available at Tarad the CTO or Power of the BI, one of them, maybe even both of them. But bottom line is, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time here. What I really want to do tonight is just go through some of the basics of what Power BI is, what Power BI does, who Power BI is for, and individuals, I'm not gonna say people, but individuals ask me all the time, Tarad, what is Power BI and why are you so gung-ho about this Power BI thing? And I tell you, Power BI actually has been released out earlier than AIs. And it's BI, AI. So BI is business intelligence. And of course, AI is artificial intelligence. And slowly they are coming together. About a year and a half ago, everybody was asking me, how is Power BI going to be able to handle the pressures of AI when it really comes about? And my response is the same as it was then. AI is not taking the jobs of BI, okay? It's really giving you an opportunity if you're not tech savvy, if you're not a computer coder, if you're not a programmer and you want to get into tech, now is the perfect time because AI allows you to do so, right? And being able to, create prompts and things like that to make some of the visualizations happen, make them work. Now, what I will say is, in my course, Power of the BI, I do not teach prompting until later. I do have I have two prompting sessions now, but the way that I look at it is this. If you know how to do the basics in business intelligence, if you know how to do the basics and know if you can perform the basics, you'll know what you're looking for. I'm hot, let me turn my fan on. If you can prompt, if you know the basics, then you'll know what to look for. Then you'll know what to prompt for. Everybody out there that's trying to get into business intelligence and they're saying, I can just use artificial intelligence to do so. It's not true. And hiring managers know it, and your colleagues know it, and you're probably not gonna get the job trying to use artificial intelligence without at minimum knowing the basics of business intelligence. So just real quick, business intelligence, BI is business intelligence. Now, Power BI itself is a Microsoft tool, just like PowerPoint, Excel, Publisher, those guys. Power BI itself is a Microsoft tool. Now, it is a business intelligence tool. It's my business intelligence tool of choice. There are other business intelligence tools that are out there. There's Tableau, there's ClickView, several other business intelligence tools. I've tried both of those, Tableau more so than Qlik. But Power BI is my tool of choice. The reason why it's my tool of choice is because one, it is a Microsoft product, and you know, if you know anything about Microsoft and how it's dominating business when it comes to software, I mean, you would probably have a pretty good understanding of why I've chosen Power BI to be my tool of choice. In addition to, it's super robust. It can do some things that many of the other business intelligence tools is not capable of doing, because there is some dynamic capabilities there. Now, with that said, when I use the term dynamic capabilities, that's simply saying, hey, you can do some programming, you can do some coding to make it do some fancy tricks, right? Now, it's not like using Java, Python, or C++ and anything like that. Java can be integrated. Java and another program language called R. R is a financial type programming. Both of those can be integrated into Power BI. To be honest, I've never had to use Java or R. And to be honest, I really don't even know R, but not Java, but Python. I haven't had to use Python or R, but I've created some scripts with Python just on my own. But as far as on the day-to-day basis, on the job basis, nah, I haven't had to use Python. I haven't had to develop. Now, we had to use Python for developing. Now, the programming language is used in Power BI is called DAX, D-A-X, Data Analytics Expression, And to be honest, you know, DAX, you can have a lot of code, but really you don't have to, because, you know, Microsoft is really going towards a no-code environment. And when there is coding needed, is little to no code, right? So do you need to know DAX in order to be a good Power BI developer? My thought process is you need to know the very basics. You need to minimum know the very basics of DAX. In my course, Power BI, that's what I do. I do teach the very basics of DAX. Now, if you want to be that dude, if you want to be that girl, if you want to be him, you want to be her in the Power BI community, well, yeah, you do need to you'll need to get a little bit more under your belt. But what I teach is I teach it from the standpoint of where I was when I was in your shoes, which wasn't a long time ago. And that's not knowing a whole lot about DAX, and not knowing a whole lot about business intelligence, and not having any idea of what artificial intelligence was and how it can integrate with business intelligence, right? So I teach it from that standpoint. And with that standpoint, I teach you the very basics of what you need, design-wise and DAX-wise, so that you will be able to go out there and get one of those opportunities. Now, I've been informed that there's some things that I can't say, you know, via the FCC, that as far as promises and things like that. So I don't promise anyone that you're going to go out there and get a six-figure opportunity. I'm not going to promise you that. What I am going to say is this: those that are within my course, those that are taking my course, I highly encourage them not to take anything less than, I'm going to say 95, but to be honest, I really don't like for them to take less than 100,000. I don't like for them to take more than 110,000. Now, the reason for that is let me be careful. The reason why I have a salary range that I like for my students to stay within when they take their first opportunity, is if you take less, you're shortchanging yourself, and you're going to be doing the work of that senior level guy, right? These guys these days, they're trying to give you pennies on a dollar if you don't let them know, hey, you know, this is what my minimum requirements are. And at the same time, I don't like for my students to take more than 110, because the expectations that will be placed on you as far as your knowledge level and your skill set is going to be a little bit more. It's going to actually be a lot more, and it's going to be a lot of pressure, right? And I don't think that it takes a long time for you to get acclimated, for you to really get an understanding of what the job requirements are, what the minimum needs are. So within 6 months of being on a job, you could easily, find yourself on another job and probably, in that 115, 120 range, right? But give yourself time. I tell my students that all the time. Give yourself time. Don't rush into it. It's going to be there. I was a school teacher, right? I was a school teacher, so I don't mind sharing that the level of increase in pay, for a Power BI developer is, it's incredible when you're looking at a regular increase in pay. For instance, say you are a school teacher, or say you are an accountant, or say you are, a project manager, a receptionist, whatever the case may be. Your increase every year may be 3%. You may get a 3% cost of living raise, and if you was a dynamic performer, you might get 5%. If you're on a certain job, you may get, a bonus at Christmas that's probably equivalent to your paycheck or something like that, right? And so I'm talking to those types of individuals because that's the kind of person that's who I was coming into the tech world. And when I took my first Power BI job, it was I came out of being a school teacher, and I was making somewhere right around 46, 47, maybe almost 50. It wasn't quite 50, but almost $50,000 a year. My first Power BI job, I came in, I was smoking. Well, I think I was smoking, right? And actually, my job, I actually took a little bit less. I took a job for $95,000. And the reason why I took that job for $95,000 is because I was betting on me. Well, so it looks like this. My thought process was, okay, cool, it's $95,000. So that is almost double. Let's just say it was double, right? It was double what I was making. But here's the caveat. It wasn't a full-time position. It was a contract position. So I took the contract job because, one, that's all that was offered to me at the time, right? And by taking that contract position, it was a 3-month contract. Now, you're like, dude, you out there taking a 3-month contract and you got a full-time job? So the way I looked at it was, if I had that job for 6 months, I would have made just as much in 6 months as I would have had on my original job in an entire year. So if I could just take that, if I can just hold it down for if I can just get another 3 month extension, I would at least have 6 months, and then I would be making just as much money as I would have been making if I had had the first job for a year, and that would have given me enough time to save a little money and then try to get another 3-month contract, right? That was a lot of pressure. Well, what I ended up doing was on that contract, I ended up getting a 3-month extension because somehow the project just didn't get finished in 3 months. And the manager and the consultant, I worked for a consulting company. My manager, he didn't know. He'd never done Power BI before. But because of my previous background, not in education, but my previous background, which was in construction management, not outside, hammering and nails. I was kind of like a briefcase contractor. I was in construction management. And the company that the consulting company was trying to land a contract with was a construction company. So my background in construction, and then having knowledge of Power BI, and I said, hey, I had, a year and a half of Power BI experience. Now, with that said, don't shoot me, for telling a little white lie, but that's what I had to do in order to try to get into the game. Well, bottom line is I ended up getting into the game, ended up getting into Power BI, get into working for a consultant. And for 3 months, I worked with them for 3 months. And it's not that I was like intentionally delaying the project. It was the owner the company that I was being consulted out to, they kept making changes. And because they kept making changes, it delayed what the actual product release, or the actual product that I was creating for them, we just didn't have time to get it done. So they extended for another 3 months. So now with that in my mind, I'm like, now I've hit my 6-month time frame, because in the next 3 months, I am going to be able to say that I made just as much money in this first 6 months as I would have made in an entire year as a school teacher. So I was like, okay, cool. I done pulled it off. I pulled it off. Well, when I was getting closer to the 6-month time period, which was right at about the 4.5-month period, I reached out to my manager. I said, hey, I've received another job opportunity, so I'm going to take this opportunity. And so I'm giving you guys 2 weeks notice. Now, to be honest, I didn't have 2 weeks. I mean, I didn't have a second job opportunity, right? I just wanted to use that as leverage. I didn't want to get down to the end of the contract and then the companies get down and then have the project finished, and then the company say, hey, well, we no longer need your service. All I was really trying to do was get another 3-month extension. That's all I was really trying to do. So I gave my 2 weeks notice. The owner, my manager reached out to the HR person. The HR person gave me a call, and she was like, Tarod, what's the problem? You're doing great work. The client loves you. Boom, 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 whoop-de-woo. Is it the money? I mean, what's the deal? I said, you know what? As a matter of fact, you know what? I misspoke in the very beginning. The job that I took in the very beginning wasn't $95,000. It was $85,000. Okay, so when I took that initial contract, it was $85,000. I say that because I'm about to tell you how I ended up with the 95. So she was like, the client loves you. What's the issue? What's going on? We told you about giving you a 2 weeks notice. I was like, well, I'm actually looking for something that's a little bit more stable. I've been here for 6 months on a contract, and it doesn't really seem like I am going to be getting the opportunity to get to go full time. So I've been given a full-time opportunity. And she was like, no. She's like, is that what we're looking for? She's like, we can give you, if that's what you're looking for. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, did nobody say that at first? Well, bottom line is, I ended up saying, hey, give me, I like another $10,000 and, a full-time contract with 6 weeks vacation, boom, boom, boom. She's like, no problem. I was like, what? She said, yeah. I said, what? She said, yeah. I said, no problem. She said, yeah. She said, no problem. Let me get with the owner, and we'll get you the paperwork over. So they sent me the paperwork over, and in the paperwork, it said that, anything that I created, while at the company, that they would have full rights to whatever I create and this, that, and the third. I scratched right through that crap. I said, man, I'm not signing this. She was like, well, what's the deal? She said, I was like, look, I say, if I create something, it's mine, right? And she was like, well, are you in the midst of creating something? I was like, nah, but if I create something, it's mine. So let me back up and say it a different way. If I created this program called Power of the BI, right? And I started promoting it on social media, and then people started paying for it. Then what they could say is they own the rights to it, and then, now I don't own Power of the BI, they own Power of the BI. I'm like, nah, man, hell no, y'all crazy. So I scratched through it, she gave it to the owner, he agreed to scratch through, and I just initialed it, and that was what it was. So with that said, I had a full-time job that I took a gamble on a 3-month contract that I got a 3-month extension, and then I ended up I got a 3-month extension, and then I ended up getting a full-time job, which then I was like, you know what? So let me back up and tell you this. So I was working remote. So now I've gone from working in the classroom to now I'm working remote, right? So I'm like, this is pretty easy, because what I was doing, I was actually working probably about 30 minutes a day creating the Power BI report. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't taking me long. So what I ended up doing was I said, you know what? Let me bet on myself again. Let me see if I can get another one of these gigs. So you know what I did? Ended up getting another one of them gigs. So now I'm working 2 gigs. I'm like, this is crazy. And the way I looked at it then, because they were sending you the computers out. So the way I looked at it was every computer was $100,000, right? So with 2 gigs, I was probably working Mm, maybe maybe 30, 40 minutes a day. Maybe 30, 40 minutes a day. It was crazy. Then later on, probably about 6 months later, so I did that. I did 2 gigs for a little while. It wasn't the same. So I had like a 3 month contract for this one, a 6 month contract. Then 3 months, then I ended up getting a full-time gig. I mean, so for the most part, I was doing two jobs, for the most part. Now, I did get to the point to where at one point I had 3 jobs and 4 jobs and, trying to manipulate the computers and making sure that I was making meetings and not missing meetings, you know. I just did that long enough to pay some bills off, to pay a car off, to put a little cash in the bank and raise my credit score, to be honest, a little bit. That's still a whole lot, for real. I mean, I ain't even joking on that. I mean, psh. But hey, new times ain't like old times, huh? Yeah. Anyway, so that's how I ended up getting into the actual workforce. And where I'm going with that is, I do encourage my students to go into to do contracting first, right? One, doing contracting, the pressure is not really on you like it is on a job, on a full-time job, because in a full-time job there's a lot of expectations. But at least contracting, you can get a 3 month contract here, you can get a 3 month contract there, and all of a sudden, you got probably 2 years worth of experience because this company didn't necessarily do this and that company didn't necessarily do that. So now you understand 2 things that most people don't even understand that deals with Power BI because they only understand what they do on a day-to-day basis. So that was one deal. Now I'm not going to encourage you to get 3 or 4 jobs because it could get hectic. But once you get your hands tied, really wrapped up and really understanding what's going on, I mean, it's really not that tough. Let's see, I did get a question about how long if I have no experience with Power BI. And that's coming from Philip Andre. The question again was about how long if I have no experience with Power BI. So here's the deal. When I got, and I kind of explained that, not necessarily explained it, but the story that I was just giving, I had no Power BI experience. I had no power. Listen, I was a primarily a 5th and 6th grade math teacher, and I taught 4th grade science. I had no tech background, none. Now, could I operate a computer? Yes, but develop and stuff like that, nah. So, the way that I teach my course is the way that I learn, right? The way that I teach my course is the way that I learn. Now, what I ended up doing was I ended up taking a boot camp, and the boot camp wasn't a Power BI boot camp. It was another tech boot camp that gave me some idea of, I heard about this Power BI thing, this reporting thing, so then I kind of went into that direction. Now, the way that I learned Power BI was YouTube. I went out to YouTube, I watched all the YouTube videos I can watch. I knew all the, not necessarily influencers, but all the YouTube teachers and all of those guys. I watched every YouTube, anything that was Power BI, I went out and I grabbed it, right? I went out and I grabbed it. So with that said, probably after I finished taking my boot camp, which was about a 4-month course, I got certified in Power BI within about 4 months after that. So within about 8 months, I had my Power BI certification. Now understand that the first 4 months had nothing to do with Power BI, but it did give me the basis of understanding tech, right? So really, it took me about 4 months to get my Power BI certification after studying on YouTube. Now, here's the thing. Power BI itself, the application, is a totally free application. You can go to Google, type in Power BI Desktop, and it'll take you to the Microsoft page to download Power BI Desktop for free. Now, the reason why I always emphasize that Power BI Desktop is free is because Microsoft Word is not free. Microsoft PowerPoint is not free. Microsoft Excel is not free. And those are Microsoft tools and applications that are used by everyday users. They're used by business users, right? But they're not free. Power BI Desktop, which generates a lot, well, let me say this a different way. Power BI, which generates, I'm believing, generates a lot more money than, well, you know what, I don't want to say that because I don't work for Microsoft. But I look at it like this. I think my annual subscription for Microsoft 365 is like $100 a year, somewhere around there. $100 a year, right? Power BI, when a company uses Power BI, they're paying anywhere from $10,000 a month to $500,000 a month, depending on use, depending on capacity, right? So that's why I'm emphasizing that Power BI itself is free. Now, the reason why I'm emphasizing that is because Microsoft wants people to learn Power BI to be able to take take that skill set into the organizations, and then the organizations can say that they want to bring Power BI to their organizations, and they already got users. So with that said, the question was, how long will it take to learn Power BI with absolutely no experience? I really do believe 4 months is a good time period. That's how long it took me to learn it. And that's how long my course is when I'm teaching it. In the course, my course is a 4-month course, and which is 16 weeks. I believe it can be done sooner than 16 weeks. I know that the boot camp that I did, it was a 16-week course. I actually finished it in 2 months and maybe a few days or so. I do believe that my course, Power BI, can be completed in probably about that same amount of time. Now, that does mean doubling down on the time. That does mean probably spending 6, 7, 8 hours a day and doing nothing but Power BI. But if you spend, I'm gonna say roughly, let's just say an hour and a half a week. If you spend roughly an hour and a half a week for 16 weeks, you'll be sharp enough in Power BI, right? And that's coming from a structured background. Now, if you spend an hour and a half a week, and an hour of that is researching the different videos that you need to try to learn Power BI from, it's going to take you a lot longer than that. But for the most part, it's going to take about an hour and a half a week, in a structured 16-week environment. You can complete the course in 4 months. Certification is not necessarily needed. It's not necessarily, because certification doesn't mean that you know it. It means that you spent a little bit more time. And the way that I like to explain it is this. Certification, to me, this is to me only. This is not a knock on anybody with certifications. I am certified in Power BI. I'm certified in Microsoft Fabric. But again, this is all certifications mean to me. Certification means you did one of 3 things. You studied real hard for it and you passed the test. You're an excellent test taker. You took the test and you passed the test. Or you cheated and you passed the test. At the end of the day, the result is the same. You passed the test, but it does not mean that you know Power BI. It just means that you passed the damn test. Pause. Okay. Now, the reason why I do, I'm going to drink here. This is only water. I don't drink, smoke, or do dumb drugs, nothing like that. I know y'all probably thinking, oh, he's got a red cup. He's drinking out of a red cup. It's a solo cup. I'm not getting paid for solo, but I'm thirsty right now. So, what was I saying? The reason why I push my students to get certified is because 99% of them are not do not have tech backgrounds. So having that icing on the cake, that certification having icing on the cake, it kind of makes the person that's interviewing you not challenge you so hard, because it's like you probably have the certification that they don't have. There are not very many Power BI developers. There are not very many individuals out there with the Power BI certification. Now, when I say very many, that's relative, but at the same time, most of the people that are interviewed for a Power BI job don't have the certification. So by you having the certification, you're threatening them. You saying try me if you want to, try me. But the most important thing is being able to complete the job. Let's see, to get good. Okay, so I think that's the second part of Philip's question about how long does it take for to have about how long if I have no experience with Power BI. That's what we addressed initially, and then his second part was to get good, and so that's a different question. How long it takes to learn? How long does it take without experience? About 4 months. How long does it take to get good? So here's the deal. Here's the deal. In order to get good, you've got to practice, right? You got to put that work in. Now, just as I said, you're going out on YouTube and you're grabbing as many videos and you learn as much as possible. You're getting better every time. You're doing more. You're getting better. You're doing more. You're getting better. Let's see here. You're doing more, you're getting better. You're doing more. Like I missed a couple of questions. I'm gonna try to answer all these questions. But you're doing more, you're getting better. Now, here's the thing. In order to get good, you've got to do more things. In order to do more things, you got to see more stuff, right? What I mean by that is that's one of the reasons why I encourage my students to get the contract jobs first, is because pretty much, Power BI itself is Power BI, but every company has a slight tweak. Every company has a slight tweak that they would like to have within their report. And by you seeing this slight tweak over here and this slight tweak, let me say it different. Let me be a little bit more clear. So on one contracting job, they may ask you to create financial reports. Okay. On another contracting job, they may ask you to create Power BI reports with Google Maps. On another contracting job, they may want you to create marketing analysis. On another contracting job, they may want you to create human resource analysis, right? All of those are creating Power BI visuals, but at the end of the day, there's something different in each one of those jobs, in each one of those contracts. So that's how you create, that's how you get good, that's how you get better. Like for instance, let's say you work for one of the Fortune 500 companies for 10 years doing Power BI. You're probably going to be doing the same task because that company has a certain number of requirements, a certain number of reporting requirements that they're looking for. And if you go out to get a job somewhere else, yeah, you've got Power BI experience and you're good at what you do, but you don't know what these guys do. It is not necessarily a big learning curve, but the more you can condense the learning, the shorter your learning curve is going to be when you go out to those companies. So to answer your question, how long does it take to get good? It takes as long as it takes. It doesn't take 3, 4, 5 years. What it takes is repetition in doing multiple types of tasks. So if you do end up getting a job, because I don't want to tell somebody only take a contract job. Don't take a full-time job. So if you do take a full-time job and you are in a situation where your reports that you're creating are pretty much the same basic reports all the time, what I'm going to say is, just like I'm saying, go out and find as many videos as possible. And so here's the deal: you ain't got to go out there and find a bunch of videos. You can go to my video. You can go to my YouTube channel, Power of the BI. I've got I want to say 100, but I've got a lot of videos from the beginning to end, Just go out there and then watch those videos. Download Power BI Desktop, and then create those reports that I've already done. Just follow what I've done in those reports, and I've got several different types across the spectrum of those reports that are out there. Do those reports. That's all you got to do. It's just repetition, right? Now you're saying, well, why would you tell me to do that? If I go do that, I don't have to join Power of the BI. Listen, man, for me, it's not about the money. I'm not chasing the money. I'm sharing information, right? And I firmly believe that if you need my help, you'll reach out, right? Now my help comes with a small fee. It's not a big fee, but it does come with a small fee. But I give away more information than I charge for, right? You can go to Power of the BI. So here's the deal. I have a YouTube channel called Power of the BI, where it's everything that I put out. Then I have another channel, another YouTube channel called the CTO. I think it's CTEAO, CTO, right? That's my other YouTube channel. That's a little bit more, it's a little bit more for those that are already in the game, that are already in Power BI. It's a lot of the same videos, but it's not a whole lot of the other stuff to where I'm doing things like this on my Power of the BI video. I'm giving away this type of information in webinars and stuff like that, so that, you know, encouragement, you know, you can do it, stay, you know, hang in there. This is all it takes. You know, school teacher, receptionist, anybody can do Power BI. As a matter of fact, everybody is gonna have to know some form of Power BI in the next few years or so, maybe in the next year and a half. So I've got two channels. One is the Power of the BI, which is everything. Then it's the CTO, right? That's out there. Then I have one other YouTube channel, which is all shorts. It's called CTO Shorts, right? And I think it is CTAO Shorts, Dash Shorts, or something like that. But it's all shorts. It's no long videos. It's all shorts. So if you just like to get your information in short form, and, you know, just a little bit here and a little bit there, it's all shorts, right? So if you want shorts, it's out there. If you want it in long form and you want a lot of other information as well, it's Power of the BI. And if you want to just get right to the nuts and bolts, it's the CTO. If you got any questions on that, but you forgot about any of that, you know, just instant message me, or you know, Instagram, you can message me. YouTube, you can put it in the chat. Facebook, you can message me, and we can get that done there. So let's see, what other questions do we have here about how long, okay, to get good, okay. Let's see, so Raymond Brackett, welcome to the Power of the BI webinar. Ramon, let me see, Raymond, is Ramon or Raymond? Raymond, I'm gonna say it's Raymond. If I got it wrong, please forgive me. Philip, again, welcome to the webinar. Let's see, Nico 407, welcome to the webinar. Everybody out there on YouTube and Facebook, welcome to the webinar. So what I'm gonna do now is I am going to go over to a Power BI report that I have already created. I'm not necessarily trying to create a Power BI report. I'm just giving you the basic information. This is a Power BI report that I created. It's all on cryptocurrency. This is actual cryptocurrency. It's not up to date. Probably within the last maybe 2 weeks or so. I do need to update it. But it's just a Power BI report that I use using cryptocurrency, and you're more than welcome to go out and take a look at this report. It is out on Power of the. About to waste my water. It is out on my Power of the BI website. So this report here is a report that we will be creating at Power of the BI Live in Dallas here in a couple of weeks. Actually, next week. It's a report that I'm going to be using for Power of the BI Live. And basically what we're doing with Power of the BI Live is May 1st and May 2nd. And basically it's going to be a Friday and a Saturday, and it's going to be 16 hours. So the 16 weeks that we would normally hold the course, we're going to be we're going to be going through all that information in 16 hours as opposed to 16 weeks. If you haven't already signed up for Power of the BI, there are only limited spots left. You would have to sign up for some of the spots that we're giving away for prizes, or we've got some spots that we've got on discounts. But as far as the actual course itself, it's actually already sold out. And it's not that, you know, I'm that big or it's that big. The space is already limited. So I'm not trying to overhype you. The space was already limited. It's not like it was 1,000 million people that was going to be there. Well, I kind of wish it was going to be 1,000 million people, but you know, But as I do postings in my stories over the next, they're coming out over the next week or so, next few days, to where some of those are discounted prize type deals and some winnings. But anyway, this is going to be one of the reports that we're going to be creating in power of the BI Live. And I am just talking and you cannot see me because I was not on the screen. But what I wanted to do here is basically just give you some idea what a Power BI report looks like. And basically all a Power BI report is just visuals. Each one of everything that you can see on here that you can identify as something that you can see is a visual, from the logo to the text with the script to all the different boxes. These are all visuals. And in Power BI, all we do is we create visualizations, dashboards for the lack of any better term. I mentioned before, you do not have to know how to code in order to be a good Power BI, in order to be a Power BI developer. I do think you need to know some coding in order to be a good Power BI developer, but you don't have to know a whole lot. I think I've got some code on here, and it is under what I call measures. And basically, as you can see here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines real quick, nothing that is too terribly difficult. And I teach you all of this, and then I teach you how to use AI. Once I teach you how to code, then I teach you how to use AI so that you don't have to code. But it's just like doing mathematics with a calculator. You know, I think it's better for you to know how to do math with pencil and pen or pencil and paper, and then use the calculator to be like, I don't even need that. But you at least need to know what the problem is, right? So here we go again. Really, the green part is just comments. So that don't really even have to be there. That just tells us what we really have. And then we've got 2 lines of code, right? I mean, it's just that simple. Just that simple. And here, again, just that simple, right? Just 2 lines of code. So this page here is called the report view. It's called a report view, and there are 3 main icons on a Power BI report. There's a report view, which is here, and then there is the table view. Back in the day, we called it the data view, but it shows us all the information in the different tables. Basically, a table is only a spreadsheet. If you're familiar with Google Sheets, Microsoft Excel, you know, this is all it is. It's just the spreadsheets of the information that's in the report. Then the third piece, which is really the most important piece, is the model view. So the model view is how all the tables and things like that are interacting. Because with Power BI, what we do with Power BI, what makes Power BI so dynamic? I think somebody had a Google question on here. Let's see. Thought I saw. Oh, I'm deep in Google Sheets and need help. Okay, I'll address that as well here in a minute. So basically, the model view, what we do is, now, what happens with the model view is the model tells us how the report is interacting. Like this visualization here, which is a column chart, when I click something on this visualization, it interacts with the other visualizations. Now, every visualization doesn't have to interact with all the visualizations. We can turn interactions on, we can turn interactions off. But at the end of the day, that's what makes Power BI so dynamic, is that the visualizations can't interact with one another. Now, we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 different visuals on this page. We really could get away with 6, which would be these bottom 6 here. I typically don't like to have, well, I ain't gonna say I don't like to. I typically suggest not to have more than 6 visuals on a page, but as you see, we can have 10 or 12, 13, or 14, as long as, you know, the design of the page itself does not look too cluttered. It takes time. So what I like to say initially, in the initial stages, don't try to create a Power BI report with more than 6 visuals, because it could become looking too cluttered if you're not skilled in how you design the page. But again, the design and development of the page, all comes with time. So it's all about practice. It's all about repetition. So the way we bring the data in now, let me go back over. So we went over to the table view and we started, these are all the different tables on the report. Those tables, not only are they here, those tables are also in a couple other spots, but the primary spot I'm going to talk about here is on the report view. So those tables are on this report view as well. And if we select one of the visuals, we'll see that all I really did was I came to this table and I know that it's got a green check on it. So I'm looking for, where that green check. So the green check is here. So basically all I did was drag and drop. Let me show you here. I'm gonna take the name off and I'm gonna just drag name up to here. I'm gonna take some of price off and I'm just gonna drag it up to here, right? So Power BI is a pretty simple tool. It's drag and drop, it's drag and drop, it's drag and drop. I've got plenty of friends in the Power BI community that don't know how to do any coding. Don't know, but they just don't do any coding because it's not required within their jobs. All they do is drag and drop. They bring the data in and then they drag and drop. They bring the data in and then they drag and drop, right? So, you could get one of these jobs and not necessarily have to know how to code. The way that we bring the data in, we just go to get data. That's one of our favorite terms in business intelligence. We go to get data. Are we bringing it in from Excel workbook? We bringing it from data flows, Dataverse, text CSV files, the web, OData, blank queries, whatever the case may be. Once you get the data, once you bring it into Power BI, it's all the same. It's all the same to me. I don't care if it comes from Excel, Power BI semantic models, data flows, Dataverse, SQL, analysis services, text CSV, web, OData, or blank query. It doesn't matter to me. Once I get that data in there, I'm going to do it the same way. I'm going to treat that data just like any other data, right? So that's how we bring the data in. Now, then when we bring it in, again, we just pick, which visualization we'd like to have. Here is a bar chart, and I like to think of a bar chart as you can put a glass or a cup on a bar. Over here is a column chart, and I like to think of it as you can hold a roof up in a house or a ceiling in a house with a column. This is a pie chart here, and we have a table visual here. We have a funnel chart here, and this is our line chart. Now, you say, T, so where do I get these visuals from? Very simple. All you have to do, the visualizations are right here. We have 100% column, 100% stack bar, clustered column, clustered bar, stack column, stack bar, line chart, area, stacked area, 100% stacked area, line column. We've got a line, clustered column. Here's the ribbon, here's the waterfall, the funnel, the scattered plot, the pie chart, the donut chart, the tree map. Then we have a map visual, a map visual, a map visual, another map. So I'm not gonna go through all the maps. But you can go to my YouTube channel, Power to BI, and you can see all the different maps. See the different types of maps. We have a gauge, we have the matrix, we have the table, which is pretty much a spreadsheet. We have a filter, then we have the KPI. Here we have the multi-row card, and here we have the card. I said before that you can put R script in. I've never used R. You can put Pi script in. I've used Pi only on my free time. We have key influencers. Here we have the decomposition tree. We have Q&A. All of this. So these are the different visuals. So let me just show you real quick how you would bring these visuals in. So I'm going to delete. And basically, when you want to delete visuals, you can just highlight them and you can hit delete. And if you want to bring in a new visual, I don't know why that came in. That was crazy. So say I want to bring in a line chart. I just click it and it comes over. I come over here and say I want to bring in the clustered bar chart. I click it and it comes in, right? Now, what happens if this one is already selected and then I select another visual, such as the pie chart, it becomes that, right? So if I want to change that back to what it was, I can select here, or I can come back up to the undo and boom. So basically, that's how all of these different visuals were built. I just selected the column, the bar chart. I selected the line chart. I selected the column. I selected the funnel. I selected the pie. I selected the table. And all of those joints came over. And basically, once you know one visual, pretty much the rest of the visuals are almost the same. All you're doing is dragging and dropping. And then when you want to have dynamic, when you want these things to be dynamic, then you'll create what's called measures. And again, those measures is the calculations. And it's really not that terribly difficult to build out a Power BI measure. So with that said, we have been at this for a while. I don't want to hold your time up. I know the NFL draft is going on and you guys are probably trying to see who's going to your favorite teams. You know, hey, but this about that money, man. Anyway, no, I'm not going to be messing with you. I'm going to hold your time up. So here's the deal. If you are interested in becoming, I'm not going to say a student, but a mentee in the power of the BI, if you're interested in becoming a mentee in the power of the BI, yo, just leave me a comment. Just leave me a comment. Just comment mentee. How do you spell that? M-E-N-T-E-E. Just comment mentee, and I'll reach out to you personally. You know, you can go to my website to see, you know, what is really, what Power of the BI is all about. You can go to my YouTube channel to really see if I really know what I'm talking about. One YouTube, again, is Power of the BI. The other YouTube is the CTO. And if you like shorts rather than long form videos, you can go to CTO Shorts. I think it's CTEAO-shorts, maybe. I think so. If not, it should be in one of the headliners. One of the headline graphics in one of those videos. But I really do appreciate you spending your time. I know you could have been 1,000 other places, and again, the draft is going on, so I mean that is big as well. So, but if you're interested in becoming a mentee, just comment mentee, M-E-N-T-E-E, and I will reach out to you personally and directly. Outside of that, you know, again, I just want to say thank you for joining in, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.